Welcome once again, people. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is Tyrone Muhammad, the Intellectual Radio Show, the Frontline Show. Thank y'all. It's been a while since I've been here, and there's no better way and fitting way to start our show off after what long? How long it's been? A couple months, a month? Yeah, a couple months, and we're gonna come back hard every time, and I'm really thankful that we're able to, with the help of our brother Earl, IntellectualRadio.com, to have a show that feed our brain, right? Often, I think you moved that, Earl. Often to feed our brain, right? And I'm so grateful for that opportunity. So I'm gonna get right to it and just let y'all know what we doing this week, right? So we've been really pushing social justice. Y'all know about our whole support your local weed man movement. And even with our demonstration and our show at Baseline on 22nd in Michigan, we there tonight every Tuesday, 22nd in Michigan, Baseline. And the whole idea of support your local weed man is an affront to all of these big cannabis companies. Our black men, our women, our boys, our girls, for 50 years was incarcerated for cannabis. They took our homes, they seized our cars, they locked men up for meager amounts of drugs, for weed. You must always understand that in our communities, we don't produce weed, we don't produce cocaine, we don't produce heroin, we don't produce bullets, we don't produce extended clips, drums, magazines, all the things that we kill ourselves and tools that are in our hand to cause self-destruction. We don't produce any of those things as it relates to the weed. We still have black men locked up in prison, languishing in prisons today over weed. We still got young homies on the corners every day getting locked up, incarcerated every day over weed. But 99% of the legalization and licenses have been given to rich white men. If we don't take that as a disrespect and a slap to our face, when our bodies, black men bodies, have languished in these prisons, have built the state of Illinois prison system off of cannabis, we should be ashamed of ourselves that we sit back and watch this happen to our men. We sit back and watch this happen as the formerly incarcerated brothers who sit back and watch this happen to our brothers while we're free. Brothers are sitting in prison right now for this product, and we must open our minds and our ears and our voices up to shed light on the disrespect, the injustice that is the cannabis industry. That is drugs in general. That is mass incarceration of our black men, some wrongfully, some unjustly, while black elected officials pass laws that continue to enrich others while continuing to demoralize our communities, our self-worth, and our values. Leaving our women out here to fend for themselves with these young men who then, with no guidance, continue the same pattern of self-destruction. Today, brothers and sisters that's tuned in, I want to talk about the injustice of mass incarceration and with the help of my sisters, explain to you all how easy it is for young men and our brothers, our sons, our nephews, our cousins to languish in prison with no assistance, wrongfully convicted, with no assistance from the government nor our communities. We want to change that today. We want to shed light on this, and I want to just say I thank y'all for tuning in, and we're gonna accept calls later. But I want these young ladies to get their stories out. I want them to be able to tell y'all what's going on with their family members, and I'm gonna let them do that. But in the meantime, I want y'all to take the number down. That's 708-223-8953. After these ladies explain themselves to you all, I want to hear from you all in the listening audience. That's 708-223-8953. I want to hear from you all as well. So with me today, to my left, I mean my right, your left, I think, is Jasmine Smith. Jasmine Smith, that's your husband, Lester?
My fiance.
Your fiance, Lester. How long has he been incarcerated?
For 11 years.
11 years.
Mm-hmm.
And to my left, Shanice Clark. And her fiance has been incarcerated, Rico Clark, for how long?
14 years.
14 years. 11 years, 14 years. And y'all know I did 21 years. So how can you hear?
To speak about the just both of them, Rico and Lester, are actually blood brothers. They both was framed by the same two detectives, and they juvenile at their juvenile ages. Rico was incarcerated at the age of 19. Lester was locked up at 17 years old. Right now, they both of the cases are back in court. They're fighting for their freedom. Brian Forberg and Kevin Eberly is the detectives.
These the
detectives, Brian Forberg. Are they still working? They're still working. Actually, Brian was promoted and he's a sergeant now. But if you Google their names, you can find both of them has been accused. The police system has even been sued for them falsely accusing and coercing witnesses to get people locked up behind bars. Lester and Rico are not the only young men that's fighting right now for their freedom. That was
from these same
detectives. Yeah, that we actually have other young men right now that's networking and connecting with our lawyers to all come together to, bring justice at hand for both, for all of the defendants that's locked up against these two detectives. Rico and Lester's story basically is like one and the same. They like each one of them were locked up due to witnesses. They wasn't locked up from physical evidence, no DNA, no guns or anything. Rico was convicted for a murder. They gave him 55 years, but no physical evidence. Lester was locked up.
Sound like my case.
Lester was locked up for 2 aggravated assaults with firearm. 2 young men accused of being, one was shot, the other one wasn't shot. They both still alive. And originally Lester was supposed to be convicted for 1 count, but the judge, I don't know where's this at in jurisdiction, but he gave him an extra 12 years on top of just the 1 count that he was supposed to have. So he gave him
extra 12 years.
So he was supposed to have 1 count of aggravated assault with firearm. He has a co-defendant as well. They both were supposed to be charged with the same thing. Somehow, some way, the judge told him in court, "You take my court system as a joke," and gave him an extra 12 years. And that just makes me think about.
You said that out loud?
Yes. That just makes me think about like what's going on in the world now. You got officers that's being convicted for murders, killing our black people, and getting away with only 10 years, 12 years, or whatever. Like I think it was the Van Dyke. He got charged with 16 counts of aggravated assault, but got convicted for, had to do 7 years. Lester only got charged with 2, and they gave him 24 years. Where does that make sense at? That doesn't make sense to me. And then other people just murders. Rico got 55 years, but these officers are getting less than 10 years or less than 20 years. It's just not fair. The system is just so broken. And we're just asking for people like the green light. Like I know it's a lot of people, the prison reform, like what you working with, and just other black communities trying to come together to bring light on the unfair justice systems. But I just feel like more can be done. Like if we all come together as a unity and speak on this, like opportunities like this, just get it out on the radio. Who knows who's listening? Like they can just shed more light on just what's going on around the world, especially in Illinois. It's a lot going on with corrupt cops and just framing our young black men. These men, life, they years has been robbed. Lester has 5 kids. All just turned 13 years old. They need their father.
That's right.
Rico has a daughter. Been gone, never even got a chance to kiss his baby, and he just been gone.
How
old
is Rico's daughter now?
Rico's daughter is 14.
Wow.
And he's been gone 14 years, her whole life. So it's just real sad. And then it's a lot of more details into just their cases alone that brings up red flags.
So let's wait on that, and I most definitely want to get to that, and probably after the break,
Hmm.
and but I want Shanice, go ahead, lady, that make yourself at home, relax, and tell the people about Rico.
It's pretty much what Jasmine said. But another thing is like he like it is some good stuff too behind him. Like he got a petition out and it said like 5,000. So
That's all right. No, listen, you at home. This is not easy. I'm still learning how to talk on this mic. And it's like you will never get used to this, especially y'all dealing with a heavy, heartfelt, and a
mhm.
life altering situation right now. And you know, you just tell the people how you feel, how they can support you, and we'll back you up. We're gonna carry the load. So just continue to say what you think you need. The people need to hear. You ready?
Yeah.
Back with us.
Jesus,
See,
it's
this
okay.
is
Speak
not.
from your
That's all
heart.
right. Talk about who Rico is. Who is Rico?
That's my best friend.
Yeah.
Um like she was saying, they was robbed a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, but it ain't fair to like his family to like she said, he ain't never get the chance to see his daughter. Um Christmas, none of that. Um then he been in the hole for like 7 years.
He's in the hole now.
He
And
just
he's been in the hole yeah.
a
That's
lot.
for y'all don't know what a hole is. That's solitary confinement. Out of the 21 years that I spent in prison, 7 of that was said.
Wow.
So I stayed in
Four
said.
walls.
Right.
Yeah.
But not only that, like he had caught COVID,
Oh
while
yeah,
he
yeah,
was down there. So and they still wasn't trying to get him the medical attention that he need.
yeah.
So
So as y'all can see, people, they need to do right. Coming out, asking for help, bringing awareness to something that this is has become y'all life. Then essentially,
Hmm.
right? This is something I've had to learn to do by default. Prison reform, social justice. That's why we started the organization Ex-Cons for Community and Social Change. So it was geared towards prison reform and social justice and reentry. And then all the violence prevention and all the mentor stuff that comes with that. And this is what I'm gonna do real quick, and I let the people get up to call in. Is I'm gonna take a break, and I'm gonna come back, and I want to hear about the details that you have from your recollection of what it is that that's going on in court, and even what we can do to galvanize as a family or community to bring support and attention to these brothers' case, because they're not the only ones, but it's a blessing that you all are out front now and giving them an opportunity due to the work that they're doing from inside
God is
to
yeah.
good.
link y'all. So thank y'all, man, for being here, and we're not done. So people, get ready. Live call in 708-223-8953. That's 708-223-8953. Like I lost my head. 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 Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the Frontline Show. This is a great show, as y'all know, powered by hashtag support your local weed man. Hashtag support your local weed man. Hashtag support your local weed man, not those dispensaries. The dispensaries in their current formulation are inherently racist and biased and discriminatory. Black men built the cannabis industry, then just so that white men, rich white men, with the help of your elected officials, even pastors, lobbied to make weed legal while your sons, daughters, women, children still languish in prison. How can you legalize something before you correct the damage that was caused by the war on drug first? And then if you want to create true social equity, the only true social equity it should have been given to those who was convicted, who spent time, who was victimized by the war on drugs. They should have been the first in line for dispensaries, for license. And in fact, people, please understand that they can't even work in a dispensary. They can't violent crime, violent offense, and all those things. Can't work in a dispensary, can't own a dispensary, can't own a grow, craft grow, can't do transportation, can't own and do infusion. Man, it's a mess. That's why we say support your local weed, man. We back. So on this topic, a heavy topic, these sisters, man, and bless our little sister Shanice hard, and I just know how difficult this is, sister. And but we got your back. Please continue to tell us about the details as much as you can in the time that we have, so that the public can know what's going on.
Okay. Okay, so right now I just got a statement that was approved by Lester lawyers just to read out and things that we could talk about as far as the case, because like I said, the case is ongoing right now. He has a upcoming court date, which is January, I believe, the 18th or the 19th, which is a good thing because now we waiting on the state to respond. His lawyer is actually ready to fight. Last court dates, they said that they wanted to interview the witnesses, which is great. They didn't push to dismiss his petition, so they see some errors and red flags. So they want to interview the witnesses to see, before they can go forward with it. So that is That's great news,
So this is Lester case.
This is Lester's case.
So if it happens for Lester case, it'll happen. It can and will happen because they're rappies. They're co-defendants.
Well, no, Lester and Rico isn't co-defendants. They just have the same two
detectives
that framed them.
I
and
got
stories
it.
It's like the exact same.
Yeah.
So it's not a lie. I'm just going to break it down real fast. So it's basically speaking like Lester was framed by cops. Detectives on the case, which is Forberg and Ubeli, framed Lester by influencing witnesses to falsely identify him as a shooter. Johnny and Joel Jones, they called them the Jones brothers. More than one witness to the shooting knew Lester beforehand, meaning they knew Lester his whole life, and talked to the police on the night of the shooting, Johnny and Joel Jones, but they did not tell the police the night that Lester had shot at them. They did not say anything about Lester that night. Only days later did those witnesses start saying Lester was involved in the shooting. That was after threats and promises from the police, which is Brian Furberg and Kevin Ubeli, been harassing them and promising them things like getting cases off of them that they already had, get rid of their cases, or just basically making fake promises to get them to lie and say that it was Lester. So Joel and his brother told a relative, which is Brian Larkin, that the cops had pressured them to say it was Lester. Cops threatened that they had put cases on. They threatened to put cases on them as well, unless they said that Lester did it. Cops said that they helped the Joneses out if they said Lester did it. Michael Ellis, police detectives, practically stalked one of the witnesses and repeatedly told him to say Lester did it, which is Michael Ellis. So Forberg and Ibley had a history of coercing and induce a witness falsely against people. We identified several cases strikingly similar conduct by Forberg and Ibley. There are more cases claiming misconduct by them, but not necessarily like ours. Lester was not there at the time of the shooting anyway. Lester was at a studio recording with Herbert and David Williams, both provided affidavit letters. So we got a lot of affidavit letters from
So you do
witnesses
have a lot of
to prove his
affidavits.
innocence.
Is
Yes.
that a call? So we have a lot. That's a call. We got a lot of affidavits.
Yes, a lot of affidavit letters that's in court right now that's been signed and certified that proves Lester innocence, his alibi and stuff like that. And also from the witnesses who was coerced by the detectives, some of them are coming forward, or they family members, like also on Rico behalf. Family members are trying to come forward to speak of how the police did harass them and pressured them to lie on these young men. Lester's story was that the witnesses said that they seen three guys running, and Lester took his face mask off, and that's how they identified him. And then Rico, he was running through the alley, and his hood fell off, and that's how they identified.
So this
that it
is
was
what the
Rico.
detective said.
This is
to
what the
corroborate
detectives told the witnesses to say. But this is in both of their cases. Rico cases, the same thing. His hood fell off. Lester, his mask fell off, and that's how they identified them as the shooters, or whatever went on these particular nights. So it was just a lot of lies, a lot of the police bullying, a lot of police scaring, a lot of police just putting fear in these young men to snitch on these two young men to get them off of the streets because of their names.
Yes. So people understand something. Hold on, I got to give my sister a shot with this before I say anything else. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah,
All right. So listen, people, understand something. I had to deal with the same issues with John Burge. Y'all, if you don't know who John Burge and his cronies are, notorious for torturing black men into confessions. There's been so many overturned cases, so many men released off the death row as a result of evidence proving that they coerced statements, recanted statements that came out when we was growing up and gang banging in the communities. They would catch us and take us to police station and tase our testicles. They would beat us with phone books to try to get us to ultimately testify against ourselves and our own organizations, street groups, cliques, crews. So when I'm hearing this, it's like bring back memories of how the detectives used to frame us and put all this stuff on. I be actually while I was in the streets, because they could never catch us on nothing real. They often, it's not that we angels out here, people. I'm not acting like we was angels and we wasn't doing things. But when you frame a person for murder, you taking his life away from him. Not that we're not doing nothing bad as gangbangers. We are a product of a system. And still no excuse for the police who are put in position of power and authority to use their power and authority to scandal, victimize, and then railroad our men, women, and children in these communities, because there's no watchdog group really to monitor these detectives. And there's the law back them up, our politicians back them up, and just the overall criminal justice system backs them up as it relates to the cases and the implication. And once we get in these institutions, it's so hard to get out.
Yes, it is.
It's so hard to get out, and the cost on our families. I'm not talking about Keith in the commissary. I'm talking phones. I'm talking travel, visits, hotels. Man, you can't even fathom the depth and burden of prison resources that it takes to keep these guys sane and even functioning properly in an institution that's for, I call it, perpetual demoralization of our bodies, our minds, our spirits, our everything. And I just commend you all both, man, to even have the audacity to fight this hard. Listen, once I got locked up, we call it Breaking Bad in jail, Earl. Once I got locked up, she was gone. She did like once I got the judge said, see, he offered me 50 years, people, on the cop out.
How
I
did
mean,
you get
40
out?
years on the. I mean, he offered me 20 years, so that I would have had to do 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
He offered me 10 years on the cop out.
Mm-hmm.
So because I didn't exercise, because I wanted to exercise my right to a fair trial, he gave me 40 years.
Wow.
That's the vindictive stuff that court judges do to us.
And get away with it.
They did that to me.
And another thing,
Go ahead, sister.
like, so
You know, whenever you want to talk, I'm gonna shut up.
but we talking like they never even gave him a chance. He ain't had no background, none of that. So you mean to tell me out of one offense, like, don't got a record at all, never really been in jail at all. So you gave him 55 years after.
See, that's the problem with
How
the
about
system.
lock them up when
Like-
they locked them up and they didn't even have a warrant out for him?
And then the
To be
person
locked
couldn't
up.
even.
Well, they
identify him.
don't need a warrant for your arrest necessarily, but if they have witnesses, and then who says how they get those witnesses trumped up charged? We're not there to ever, see the process.
Mm-hmm.
They have private. They have they call it what, secret indictments.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Who's there to see the indictment, the secret indictment? If you calling something a secret, that means it's not visible to the public.
Mm-hmm.
So they're secretly indicting our family members all over this city. And when I say family, I mean everybody that's incarcerated is my family. Everybody in these communities are my family. That is my family. We just are oftentimes we're ignorant. I'm not saying that there are not brothers that deserve to be in prison. Absolutely. Women and children are being killed every day out
And
here.
those the ones need to be in
Yeah,
there. And
and-
free the
and
ones
when
that's
you
been
do
in
that,
there.
but
Right.
really, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you can always trace these illnesses, this self-hate, back to something.
Mm-hmm.
Back to something. I started off saying that we don't produce guns and weapons in our neighborhoods. They're not guns. These guns that these young brothers got. I deal with 13, 14-year-old guys, 16-year-old like Rico and them was every day. And they got more guns than the police when I deal with them.
Hmm.
So it's not my job to be that judge and jury. My job is to teach them and show them
Mm-hmm.
that to kill one another over insignificant matters and issues is not good. It's only lead to two places: perpetual incarceration or eternal death. And with that being said, sisters, I'm telling you, tell the people how they can support y'all, what they can do, y'all names, how they can find y'all, how they can find Rico now. Just let the people know that you need their support. They're listening. Let them know how they can help. And because people often ask, what can I do? And we don't often know what to do. It's just so happened through the great work of y'all men in prison, they reached out to me, and I'm always willing to help our people. It's so much. It seems like it's one of me trying to serve the whole world. Sometimes I'm telling you, that's the burden, and it's not everyone is rushing to help our incarcerated family members.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
God behind you. At the end of the day,
Thank
you're
you,
gonna be truly blessed behind this. Like just giving the opportunities, and you did 21 years. Again, I would like to know, how did you get out?
And also,
Yeah.
they
You
know
had
you
more years
you
than
a
that.
noise maker. You
Oh
make a lot of noise.
yeah. I don't make it. I'm not even starting. I haven't even started. I haven't begun to make the proper noise for these brothers and a few others that I'm gonna be reaching out. My little brother doing 85 years in prison
Wow.
right now.
Make it make sense.
Yeah,
How does that?
yeah.
How does 85
Well,
years
all
help
type
someone?
of discrepancy. So my goal was to build a movement of following, even to put be able to have a platform to ultimately have legislators to be able to put in the clemency of time cut consideration even for him.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to fight for everybody else while my heart is heavy for my own brother.
Right.
See, I could be selfish and be like, man, I'm fighting for my brother 100%.
Right.
But that's not how you do it. You could do both and.
Exactly. It takes, like, at the end of the day, it takes a village. You're not by yourself. Like, I'm so happy that I met you because I'm Johnny on the spot. Whatever I can do with the community. I have a nonprofit organization right now that I'm trying to get off the ground for halfway housing for when men and women get out of jail that need somewhere to go because they put y'all in the system saying that it's supposed to be
Yeah.
for rehab. It's not.
No
It's
doubt.
cruelty. You just slaves with chains again when you locked up behind there. Like, it's just unfair. I feel like I want to protest. I want to do a lot of things. Just make noise. We got to make noise. Without noise,
Yeah,
these people
they
don't
don't
hear us.
trust me. They
They
don't like
don't. They don't. They
noise.
don't hear us
Not at
because
all.
they don't want to see no big crowds.
No,
They don't want to see no riots. They want to do whatever they can do to stop us from acting the fool. And I feel like
Mhm.
it's just not enough noise behind what's going on with our young black men, even some women that's locked up, for the wrong reasons. Or like you said, some probably, did what they did to get locked up,
yeah,
but it's they punishment, they times is just over. They
Yeah.
being overly sentenced. Like right now,
that's true.
they was locked up as Lester and
You
Rico.
can't give me, so you give me 40 years at 50%. That means I would do 20 years. I earned another year, fighting the police all the time. But you get that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you sentence them to 50 years for the same type of case. That you can have it both ways. You can have that type of discrepancy in sentencing guidelines where you get a judge that much abuse of discretion to then sentence our family members in that extreme situation, even never considering. That's why we're working towards a parole process. We was
Mm-hmm.
on the front line passing a new House bill that
Mm-hmm.
allows for every man to be able to come before the parole board and state his case, each individual case by case.
That'll be a
Stop
blessing.
seeing everybody as a whole and see everybody as an individual. That's what I mean. It's just too many discrepancies that keep us incarcerated too long, overly sentencing us to a point of some of us are dying in prison before we
Right.
even get
Mm-hmm.
back home to our family after serving a life sentence.
But the white people don't be sentenced for like that. I just feel like it's all a racist thing
It
because
is.
they always
Absolutely.
get cut a slate free, and then when it comes to black people always get longer years or harder years for whatever reason that it makes sense, but it never makes sense to us because it's all just it's in the dark with them. It's
Right.
the judge behind it. Sometimes the lawyers be behind it. They all be in
Oh, they all
cahoots with
lawyers.
each other,
Whether
they
state's
all be in
attorney
cahoots
or
with each other to over sentence y'all.
yes.
Like, and then just like, do they? You may know. Do they? I still haven't read anything about them having a juvenile law. When you lock up juveniles, they is like Lester and Rico. They was they was trialed as adults. How?
See,
When you're
there's
not
new
even
laws on the
developed.
books now that deals with juvenile differently. So that means that retroactively, a lot of that stuff had to come back up. So, but it has to be brought to the attention of the court, legislators, and we have to build a coalition and a team
Mm,
that stands on the front line in that fight.
mm,
So we can get those things addressed. Oftentimes, it's like groups like ECCSC and fragmented groups that's always crying and hollering in the wilderness, and it's often white people who put their groups together in the name of social justice for black people that's usurping and sucking up all the resources and the
mm-hmm,
money, claiming to get at social justice and prison reform, but not really ever. It's never really our organization. It's never really our community that receive the resources so we can help our sons and daughters coming home, even once they're released back in
mm-hmm.
society. They have to be able to exist in society. With that being said, there's a great opportunity. Their case, and we're gonna continue to talk. Y'all gonna have a continual platform here to be able to constantly bring the issues up, the case up, talk about the progress, and even listening to y'all and other women like you all. Because the thing about it is, I think it's all similar. When I have to deal with women whose sons are murdered
Mhm.
and the heartfelt stuff that they're going through. It's two things that's gonna happen to our boys if we don't step up as black men out here. They're going to prison for the rest of their lives, or they going to graveyard for the rest of for eternity. For eternity. That's only one or two things that's gonna happen if we don't intervene in their affairs as black men. We have to save our sons. We have to help these women get a grip, just like them. These guys got children out here that need black male
being locked
See what
up,
I'm saying?
losing your siblings,
They need guidance. They need guidance, these children. So with that being said, you all represent the perfect opportunity to put the coalition of women together that fight for these sisters. You know, women are the fastest growing population. Black women. You see these little wild little sisters out here. They need to know. Y'all have to be able to be given a platform to talk to these young ladies. And that's what I want, and that's why I haven't started really dealing with the reentry and the prison and social justice as it relates to women, because I didn't have women to do that. Because you have to be careful and mindful of that because of the Me Too movement and women claiming that I don't want a woman saying I did nothing to her. Right. So you can't deal with these little ladies. Right. They're saying because they are. I'm telling you, they're different today, and we have to be able to lean on our sisters to guide them. And we're going to figure that out. We're going to put it together. You women out there listening, y'all have to help us do that because we can work with the young men. But a lot of the shootings and the drive-bys and the sliding is caused by women. I'm telling you. Yeah. That's why they shoot women up too in these cars. Because they've been with the shit at the shorty say. They've been with it. They on Facebook with it. They throwing up forks. They throwing up five. They out there set tripping too. So we have to save our daughters as well. But ultimately, prison reform and social change is real. And I'm going to come back, y'all, and anybody that want to call in and ask these beautiful sisters some questions, feel free. Once again, 708-223-8953, 708-223-8953. Let's close out with a couple calls for these young ladies so that they can, don't be scared. Call in and talk to them. We'll be right back. Like I lost my head. Like I lost my head. Like I lost my How you doing, caller? Caller. This is the Frontline show. State your name, where you from.
Hi, Tyrone. I'm Julie. I'm in Chicago.
Hey, Julie.
Hi. I was just watching you guys, and I just want to send out some love and hugs to people. And these ladies are going through so much, and I definitely feel what they're going through. And I am so proud of how strong they are right now.
Yeah. Thank you.
You got any questions for them? Just to support.
I just wanted to send some love and support.
Yes, thank you, so Julie.
I'm not familiar with Chicago and Illinois and Cook County, but I have a loved one in Mississippi, and he's right now in one of the worst prisons in the world. And
they all bad.
He's getting out in the next month, and they decided, and they tacked on more charges suddenly to him, saying he was doing more stuff and he's violated whatever. I haven't even been able to find out what happened and stuff. And now they just tack on more stuff. And the family and me, we're trying to find a lawyer that will be able to be down there and be able to help him to straighten it out. So I I understand exactly what you're going through, and I support you, ladies, and how strong you are. Because some days I just sit here and I cry because I don't know what to do because I get frustrated with it. And you both are much stronger than I am.
What's his name,
So,
Julie? Your nephew? You said it's your
I'm going to
nephew?
call and let you know that.
Julie, she said, what's your nephew name?
His name is Lintrell Peck.
Who she
He's
said?
in the Mississippi Department of Corrections.
Mississippi Department of Corruption. I'm going to use that, corruption.
Okay.
I'm going to use that one more often. I've heard it so many times, but I need to start using it in my vernacular.
They are one
The-
of the most corrupt states in the
The
country.
Cook County Department of Corruption.
Yep,
The Illinois Department of Corruption.
yep,
We got it.
that's perfect for it.
I thank you for that. And I'm going to use it. My sister Julie gave me that. Thank you for calling in, Julie. I appreciate your support always. You always on the front line with us, even though you're not here. And I appreciate it. All right.
Thank
And I'll
you.
be praying for you guys.
Okay,
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
That's it.
See, they out there. It's people know. It's everybody's been affected by. There's no one that hasn't been affected or don't know someone that's been incarcerated. Mass incarceration is an enemy to our community. And that's why I fight so hard on the front line, because after you don't understand, and I know what Rico and them dealing with, they haven't served more time than I've served. Almost together they may have. But 21 years, man,
That's a
in a
long
9
time.
by 12 cell, always feeling like you have no one on your side. The fact that they even have these sisters, I mean, the abandonment that I felt being incarcerated, like I was just thrown away. You don't ever get over that feeling of being abandoned and neglected. Even when you have support, you still feel like an animal in a cage. So I implore the brothers who's been incarcerated before to get on the front line and start doing more as it relates to even reaching back to the guy you shared a noodle with. Reaching back to the young man you lift weights with on the yard. You know, finding out about their daughters, their son, and their mothers, and seeing what you can do to lighten the load and the burden that these women are going through with a fatherless household. So let me make sure I don't hang y'all up. Talk, speaker. Hey, this is the Frontline Show. Go ahead, call the name and why you calling.
My name is Dorothy Massey. I'm from Racine, Wisconsin.
Hey, Dorothy.
Hey there. I just wanted to call in because I've been wanting to call in for the longest time. I've always just listened to the show. I just wanted to encourage you and the young women and tell y'all to continue to keep fighting, keep staying strong, hold your head up. I'm down here now watching this Kyle Rittenhouse circus that's going on right now, and it's just a lot going on everywhere, you know.
Yes, it is.
All the injustice in the system, you know. And in Racine, all they do is seem like they build a lot of prisons for our the youth here. All they don't have anything as far as like reform, no activities for the young men. You know, it's like a I don't know. It's just rough. But I do commend you, and I admire you so much for being so strong. You've been through so much.
Yes, ma'am.
You continue to keep fighting, and God is going to continue to keep using you.
Man, thank you for calling, sister. We appreciate you, and thank you for your continued support of the ECCSC brand, Tyrone Muhammad, and our crew out there on the front line. We appreciate it.
Oh, most definitely, and I would definitely support the local weed man.
Support your local weed man, no doubt. Appreciate it. Support your local weed man, the movement, and I had never smoked weed in my life. Never. I never drink in my life. Sold it all though, but I never smoke or drink in my life. So it ain't even about smoking. Right. It's about the issue of mass incarceration, using those instruments to trap our men and women because of poverty, and then taking those same instruments and building the state of Illinois prison system and the world's prison system off the backs and bodies of black boys and girls. Then, out of the blue, you get an epiphany that there's a illegal drug market worth 7 to 8 billion in Chicago. They call it the black market. Anytime they say something is black, it means dark. Anytime something is black, it means underground. Anytime something is black, that means you, black man and woman. Anytime they label something black market, they talking about you. And they saw opportunity to say, okay, now that we've locked their bodies up and made money off the prison thing, now it's time to relax the sentencing on weed and those things that have for 50 years isolated and incarcerated and destroyed our families. Remember, what Rico and them dealing with is just an extension of something that's greater and more diabolical than y'all can even imagine. You cannot fathom the depths of Satan. You can't fathom the depths of Satan. I know this is real. I know this is real. I've seen it. I've been there. I've been entrapped by it. I know that this is real. These people are always working day and night, plotting, planning, scheming to figure out how to usurp and take your resource and wealth from you. Whether it's in these foreign stores that's in our neighborhoods, whether it's in increasing the police, whether it's increasing lawyers, prisons. The ironic thing is they always have money to incarcerate you. Mm-hmm. No matter. There's always money to put your body in prison. But there's no money for training. There's no money for reform. There's no money for reentry, hitting the right communities in the right hands. You know why it's so hard for us to get resources? Because they know we're going to do something with them. Mm-hmm. See?
They scared.
It is a pattern, right? They don't enjoy the fact that somebody like a Tyrone Muhammad can form an organization of ex-cons to do violence prevention, to reform and transform, do behavior modification of young black men, minds, thinking, hearts, and thoughts. They don't want that. Mm-mm. Because that doesn't aid in their mass incarceration. Mm-hmm. My very existence is an affront and a war to their system. Mm-hmm. And we got a lot of great men like Lester and Rico, them sitting in these prisons that could be contributing to what it is that we do. Yeah. Mm-hmm. When we say free Larry Hoover, when we say free Jeff Ford, Chief Malik, we saying that in them, the best way to free them is to show them, the administrations and the people that keep these men confined and locked up forever, mm-hmm. is to say men like Tyrone Muhammad, who's been incarcerated, who is a former GD, who could come out here and do his thing and be about the business of changing lives, and Greg Sherman and guys who's a former vice lord can come out here and change lives and heart. And Snoop, our other man, Northside director, who's a former Blackstone, all of us in the same group. See, this is how you free them guys.
And it's like you all are examples, and a lot of people turn their heads to that. Like, I applaud y'all. Like, but again, like I said, it takes a village, because a lot of people don't even know. Like, I didn't know about you until I got that call. Like, you need to call him and get in contact with him. Didn't hear about you, didn't know about you, because a lot of people not speaking about it, and that's because they don't want a lot of people to know that you guys, it's like you just got out and you doing big things. That's right. It's just so sad, and it's heartbreaking, because you was gone 21 years. Man, that's a long time. Yeah. Only for you to have the mind that you got now. That's what they afraid of. They want to keep the brains in jail, because when you get out, it's gonna be a whole lot of moving, and they don't want that to
Well,
happen.
I'm crazy in different type of ways. No, for real. I mean, I'm crazy in the sense that, sister, I said that I didn't want to see my young brothers and sisters coming to prison no more. And I'm crazy with that fact that I do all that I can, even in denying myself opportunities to make sure that our community is not victimized no more. And I'm crazy in the fact that I told the judge and I told everybody, I'm going to make them wish they never locked me up.
Period.
See, it's best to let you
Period.
should just let me just run the street,
Right.
do the negative stuff, right?
They
Don't let
wasn't
God
doing nothing
take.
though, but trying to make a living.
Listen,
Wasn't doing
that's
nothing.
all we doing.
Trying to
But
make a
ultimately,
living.
our ignorance, and it's still at their hands. Our ignorance is what destroys us. And most of these young shorties and little homies I deal with every day don't even know that they're doing wrong.
Right.
They don't see it. There's not no love for them. And just merely giving them boys a hug and telling them you there for them. Here's my number. Call me whenever you got an issue. Call me. Even if I don't have it, I'm going to find it. Just give me a call. That's the love these little brothers is missing. And they not getting that from churches and politicians. That's why they not there. That's why they find cliques, crews, sets, and people to find camaraderie with that they can ultimately, find brotherhood. That's really what we're looking for, love. Everybody looking for love. Y'all looking for y'all love to
I'm
return.
looking for
Come on,
justice,
man. Come on.
She
freedom,
want her to come on.
peace.
She want justice. You want justice. And with that being said, in the last few minutes that we have, I'm gonna go with you.
Okay.
Tell the people where they can find and learn more about Rico.
From Rico got a Facebook, Rico Clark.
Rico Clark.
Sign up for his petition.
All right. I'm gonna have her on a circuit. She gonna get better. She gonna get better and more, shall I say, confident and standing there. But you're doing great. Don't even worry about it. We got your back. What about you with Lester?
So you anybody who wants to find out any information, you can find his information on his page, which is Free Lester Owens, FREELESTEROWENS OWENS. He also has a petition as well. Once you click on his page, the link will be there. Any other information, it can be reached through my page, which is Gazelle, GAZELLE, Jasmine, JASMINE, Smith, SMITH, dash Gibson, GIBSON. So any information like you guys would like to know, even if you guys like have loved ones that's in prison or want to reach out, I can be contacted on my cell at 773-495-2993. Like I said, I am trained to go, ready to go, anything. If it's stepping out there, getting on the front line, I'm here. If it's us coming together as queens and you scared, like need someone to talk to or need help just getting through with dealing with someone that's incarcerated, you can reach out to me as well. I have a young lady who does transportation with helping families, girlfriends, kids getting back and forth to see their loved ones as well. If you don't want to take them 5-hour, 6-hour drives, if you in Illinois. Oh, she only drive in Illinois. So I could be contacted and information can be found at those pages in my cell. Thank y'all.
Well, I thank y'all for keeping me on mission, keeping me on purpose, keeping ECCSC and what we do out front. And we want to be the premier at what we do, whether it's violence prevention, whether it's prison reform, whether it's social justice, it's mentor, civic engagement. And we got a social night too, where we come together as a community. We at 22nd, 2239 South Michigan. We in the plush space. That's Baseline, Club Baseline on Michigan. We South Loop. Come on now, man. We want our family to come. Well, ladies, y'all can come in for free to 10 o'clock. Guys, y'all paying. Y'all to 10. So from 8 to 12, we will be at Baseline every Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I think we got an event going on that we won't be there. But you think? So we going to wrap it up, people. And thank y'all for tuning in. Support your local weed, man. Support your local weed, man. at supportyourlocalweedman.com, at Instagram, supportyourlocalweedman. So go check us out, and always ECCSC.org. Thank you, sisters, for being strong, and may God continue to bless you. We're going to free Rico and Lester.
Yes, free Rico and Lester and all of your meetings.